All right, this is the Red Pill Dispensary. Okay, so we're gonna jump right into it. I just did another video, but I was going from my phone because my laptop wouldn't charge. It miraculously started charging, so that's great. Um, I basically went over the basics in the other video, and to be honest with you, the title tells it all. So let's dive right into this. And you know what? I'd like to have at all times. Let me see how this looks. How's this look? Oh wait, I gotta share screen. Okay. Oh, sorry. I'm talking into the mic, but you could probably still hear me. This mic's like so amazing. Tell me if that's too loud or good or what. Okay. Share screen. You know what? For this one, I'm just gonna do the application window. Okay, which I want to pull up an interactive map of now you see, if you look at this interactive map, which I'm sure you guys can see, right? Yeah, you guys can see it. So when you look at this interactive map, you see over here, obviously China. Now, one thing we know is that those numbers are much, much higher in China. Now, what else do we know? We know that Iran. So here's Iran. Okay. It's a big circle, but I'll tell you right now, that circle should be even bigger. Another one, Italy, in particular Milan, that area. Another one. But I think they're actually reporting accurate there, so that's about right. I think Iran is far worse than Italy, but I mean, you guys are starting to see what everyone feared. Russia said so. What's unique with Iran is everybody, and I think I was right. Does Kazakhstan have a tiny border with them? Yes, they do. Oh wait, no, because see, so Iraq closed their border. You have Afghanistan closing their border. Here's Iran here. All right. You most likely have all these countries are closing their border with them. Pakistan probably closing their border. All these countries closing their border with them. Turkey closing their border. Turkey. Oh no, Turkey isn't. Do they border them a little tiny bit though? Yeah, it's a little tiny. If I'm not mistaken, they do have a tiny border. And then, of course, that would include some of these smaller countries as well. Is that? Hold on. Is that what's it called? Oh, wait a second. Yeah, so we're talking like. All those biblical countries right there. I mean, this used to be called Persia. This would be Mesopotamia. What was Saudi Arabia? What was that? Anyways, this doesn't matter. What matters, what I want to bring to your attention, all right, is our own backyard. Okay, before we knew in Illinois that a woman came. That was the first time that somebody got it on our soil, meaning they were fifth or sixth generation, which we've gone over before. To learn some of this terminology, you want to watch my video from January 27th. Everything you need to know about the coronavirus, and it's pretty accurate, and it stood up on its own info. It's a couple things I would have tweaked, but it's obviously a dynamic situation. But we basically hit it, the nail on the head from the beginning. The R naught number, that's one of the one things. It's even higher, and I wanted to go higher, but I was like, I just started thinking like, if it's over 4, then we're talking potentially like a 6.0. And the reason that I say that is, I don't mean to dehumanize, but the case study of the Princess cruise ship, despite as of a few days ago, the numbers might have got a little bit better. 2/3 of the passenger, 2/3 either had or had not been tested. Which, when you have so many people like that, that's a big deal. So let's start looking into this current news that broke in the middle of the night last night. And listen, one thing I always say, and you guys have heard me say this, is on Fridays, okay? On Fridays, usually it's Friday afternoon, that's when they drop the biggest stories. I always, every Friday, I am looking at everything because that's their way of slipping a huge story, and it'll get picked up by a lot of us YouTubers. But as far as mainstream, usually there'll be a distraction along with it. They might touch on it, but people are just, they like we talk about, people kill themselves all week. When it comes to weekend, they don't want to, research and all that like we do, um, or at least like I do. And Fridays is their prime time for intel dumps. Well, this one was so sensitive. I think they definitely knew earlier, but they waited until the middle of the night to drop this intel. So let me just check on you guys quick. And by the way, Sunshine State or Sherbet, anybody, could any of you guys just remind me by the end of the show? I have some thank yous I want to do. Okay. So, anyways, just so you know, guys, it's like an interactive map. Okay, there's an interactive map, and I'll tell you what these new ones are. Bang, right there, 1, 2, and then I'm gonna have to look at the third exactly. All right, so let's check it out. Oh, and by the way, I was talking about this in the other. Oh, there's the car. The windshield saved my life. Headrest to save my life, I should say. Okay, let's see. Um, I should probably tweet out the show. Anyways, now this is what I was talking about before. Look at this. So this goes each day, each day, each day, and this is only up until February 13th, which is about the time the WHO went into China. All of a sudden, we start getting a hint of how it's just exponentially worse than thought. Although anyone who's been following this and believes it and all that knows it has been way worse. Like, I'm saying, add an extra zero at the very least. Um, just the videos alone show you see so many bodies being waited to be incinerated, which is a way that they try to hide the number. You see so many people locked and quarantined in their own house, quarantined in these. They used to be like some type of gymnasium turned into a makeshift. They can, like, China is crazy the way they build. They can turn somewhere into a hospital in less than a day, and they've been doing that all over China, especially at the beginning of Wuhan. And the whole spraying thing, and that's to keep it from spreading. But this is all it took. The U.S. was actually in good shape, but I had a bad feeling once I heard Trump. When I heard Trump saying those same tired ass old lines of, and you know what? I'm not happy with Trump about it, but at the same time, I do somewhat understand. You know what I mean? Like, Trump's supposed to be the guy that's always straight up with us, right? So it's like almost like, is this one of those situations where, first of all, I think that they're trying to set him up. make it look like he handled the situation horribly. Um, like so oh yeah, yeah. The I am Ainsley. That's actually been in effect for a little bit. And it's so funny. Actually, I want to show you a video. I actually showed it yesterday, but when I watched it again, I caught the doctor. You catch the doctor slip. Either that or he slips on purpose. Because there are gag orders. The UK does gag orders all the time in the media. Us, we had the Smith-Mundt Act. The ban on propaganda we know was lifted by the Obama administration. So, you know, it's we don't exactly aren't any better in that sense, obviously, which is why we have opinion news and not news, which makes our situation in a situation like this, it really is scary, because then you have Trump up there and all he keeps talking about is the flu is more deadly. Listen, anyone who says that is cherry picking they're cherry picking this one stupid stat that doesn't even make sense. It honestly does not make sense. 10,000 people die every year. Last I checked, we're surpassing that number, and this thing started around December 1st. It really started breaking out, late December, right? Well, even later. It depends on what you mean by really breaking out. We're talking like pandemic, probably mid-January. They should have declared and I said it at the time. They should have declared what's it called, a global emergency, the WHO, back mid-January, no later than January 24th, 17th, something like that, maybe the 20th, because I did it on the 27th. I remember saying they should have done it a week ago. So the week prior to the week of the 24th and 27th, they should have declared it then. From the numbers I was seeing and just following scientists, I don't claim to know it all. That's why I follow these scientists and just sit there and listen to them ad nauseum. But when you listen to enough of it, you just get it. All right, so let's look at these stories. So far, it's just been me talking. Let's actually look at the stories. So let me pull this up. Okay. All right, I'll go full screen on this. So check this out. And like I said before, what makes this so alarming is that they can't figure out the origin. These people contracted this virus from unknown origins, meaning wherever they got it, that person's most likely still out there. And also, these people are not all clustered in one area, meaning, one person kind of got through, gods. And, so far, at least from what they're reporting, the U.S. has been doing well. I think that they were a little late, but looks like they were doing well. They were quarantining everybody, getting people out of it. And it seemed to be contained, at least from the reports. That's all we can go on, is the numbers. You can't go on the numbers out of Iran or China. I'll tell you that. Anyways, these three people live, if I'm not, I know that one's in Oregon, I think one's in Washington, and then one in California. So it's like the whole West Coast, and they're all separate. And what's that tell you? In each one of those places, there is somebody. Oh, I have to take this call. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to play a quick video for you guys. Look at you, Joe. All right, guys. Sorry about this. This is important. But I'm trying to find a video to play. All right, here we go.
For an extended amount of time. The U.S. government enacted measures to contain the spread from China.
So check this out.
On January 31st,
virus, health experts have warned that the chances of containing it are diminishing as cases appear in more
now
countries.
It is.
The coronavirus's rapid global spread has several countries scrambling to take emergency measures. Most recently, Japan, South Korea, and Italy have had a sharp increase in the number of cases. This novel coronavirus strain, officially named COVID-19 by the World Health Organization, was first discovered in Wuhan, China in late 2019. The outbreak was declared a public health emergency in February, and patients have tested positive for the virus in more than 40 countries on 6 continents.
This virus has pandemic potential, and WHO is providing the tools to help every country to prepare accordingly.
We saw this acceleration, which is now so obvious to everyone. You know, we started off with 25, 50, 100, several hundred, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. So we had no idea where it was going. The situation was such that we already saw that the introduction into our country was through travel-related cases, and we had the capability of being able to identify, isolate, and contact trace the cases.
We know that the coronavirus is a respiratory disease that can be spread when people come into close contact with each other. Common signs of infection include respiratory symptoms, fever, cough, and shortness of breath. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, it may be possible that a person can get the coronavirus by touching a surface or object that has the virus on it, and then touching their own mouth, nose, and possibly their eyes.
Not by. Hold on.
People are thought to be the most contagious when they don't have any symptoms or mild symptoms. The coronavirus is also unpredictable because it is an entirely new strain. Even though the flu has been a greater threat in the US, it is not easy to compare.
The issue is that the thing about flu, as much suffering and death that occurs every year on a seasonal basis, we have a very good experience and know exactly what flu is going to do. You can be guaranteed that as we get into March and April, flu will diminish and essentially get off the radar screen. We have a good prediction of what the range and the bracket of the morbidity and the mortality is. So we know this is the unknown. Coronavirus is the unknown. We have no idea what its potential is, the direction it's going, or where it's going to end. And because of that unknown, it was felt that we needed to do something that in many respects was unprecedented.
We also know which age groups are more susceptible to contracting the virus.
So far, we're seeing mostly older people who are dying, which from a public health perspective is better than having it be younger, healthier people. So we're going to be closely monitoring to see whether that profile changes. But for the time being, this is more like what we see with flu, where it's the immunologically compromised people who tend to be older adults who are most affected.
The coronavirus can also be fatal to critical care health workers who are repeatedly exposed to the virus for an extended amount of time. The U.S. government enacted measures to contain the spread from China. On January 31st, the administration announced foreign nationals who had traveled to China would be denied entry into the United States.
The president has signed a presidential proclamation using his authority pursuant to Section 212F of the Immigration and Nationality Act, temporarily suspending the entry into the United States of foreign nationals who pose a risk of transmitting the 2019 novel coronavirus.
The coronavirus has had significant impact across almost every industry. Worldwide stock markets have fallen over fears of a pandemic. Japan announced they would close schools until April, and the 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo could be impacted because of the coronavirus. And those who study and work on infectious diseases are still unsure what will happen next.
So a lot of what we're saying now is based on current data. And as we get more data that come in, some of these initial characterizations of the disease may change a little bit.
1 minute.
And again, that's not going to be because people were not being truthful earlier. It's just that as we get more data, we can be more precise and we can be more accurate.
Right now, the risk to the American public is low. But, big but, that could change because this is an evolving situation. And if it evolves into a true global pandemic, then we would have a very serious problem here in the United States.
All right, so let's look into this. All right, so let's read this article first. I have a few different articles I want to show you guys.
Medical face masks are often used during flu season or a virus outbreak.
All right, so this is bad. Okay, and that's another Carnegie. That's another thing, is that the fact that they don't know the origins, it could be mutating. The fact that they don't, it could be mutating. Absolutely, it absolutely could be, because it could be mutating because really, not so much in the way like that's why these, but for instance, what they've been finding out is that people who recover from the virus many times, a good percentage, become reinfected. So it's almost like they just don't know the long terms of this. And now that it has popped up in the U.S. on the West Coast, unconfirmed origins, meaning they don't know how they got it. They will go through all their history. They would have went through everything, because the longest somebody went asymptomatic was 27 days. A lot of people who are, let's say my age, 24 days. And the standard that they were saying was 14 plus days. And these numbers, these days that I'm talking about, are the incubation period, or latency period. But with an R naught this high, and you're asymptomatic, and you're going about, I mean, I was at the hospital right next. I should be wearing the brace, but I'm just trying my best not to like make any sudden. But I was right next to a woman, and I'm telling you, this had to have been the woman that they were talking about in the news. I was there the same night. She happened to be also from China, had traveled to China, was right next to me, was being asked all these questions, talked about how she passed out, was having trouble breathing. And they said she had no coronavirus symptoms. She did have symptoms, but it looks like maybe she didn't actually have the virus. She might have just actually had the flu. Hopefully. I was right next to her for about 10 hours. And then I think they figured it out and they moved me. Now I thought they moved me because the nurse and I were kind of button heads, because I didn't like how she just like hit me with ketamine without telling me what I was about to go through. Because I didn't want opiates, so they just nailed me with ketamine. Like, if someone's gonna trip balls or go to a different realm, you should let them know first. So I was pretty upset. Nicholas Brown, what's up, brother? Good to see you. What did you say? What did you say? Can you rewrite it? Am I wrong or right? Doctors killed 250,000 due to medical mistakes. So, yeah, exactly. And you know what? Instead of the first thing they should do, anyone coming from China, okay? Or even, you know what? It's not racist. Just like if you were to take someone that's Asian and just say, "Hey, are you Chinese? Have you traveled to Asia, in particular China?" If the answer is yes, automatically, that's all it takes. A couple questions, and then you take precautions. But they had this woman next to me for all that time. And then after about 10 hours, they moved me. I'm thinking it's because of the other thing. Once I got home, all of a sudden, all over the news, UMass Memorial in Worcester, which is exactly where I was. I have the paperwork and everything. And the same date. I mean, I already did this on another show. Where's the paper? So I got all the paperwork and everything. But I'll bring up the video and show you guys. So I was there that night, and then the next day they reported it that she had been quarantined, and then she was actually let go about 48 hours later at midnight. So I don't know, but what I do know is that these 3 West Coast cases are extremely alarming. And the thing with Trump is that he did not want to cause panic. Obviously, Wall Street knows something. And when just China alone being in the shape that they are, and they produce, what is it, like 2/3 of the goods or something like that? Some crazy number. Don't quote me, but it's some crazy number. It's not as much as it was under the Obama administration, but it's still some crazy number. Well, that stops, right? Now in the US, we have 3 people. We don't know how they got it. That means that the CDC, all these very intelligent people sat down. They know how to do this. This is what they're trained to do. Go through each and every second and hour and minute of every day for about the past month, but in particular the past like 24 days, and really the past 14 days. And what they'd really be focusing, because first of all, they want to know where they went, so they know where they now had spread it, because all these people who are now considered diagnosed, well, that means they've been asymptomatic anywhere from 14 to 27 days, walking around Oregon, California, and Washington. And I don't want to scare you guys, but that's the facts of this. So let me show you Nicholas Brown saying I wanted to but the maps, the fake news show, do not tell us that those 60 people are under quarantine. Which one are we referring to? If you're referring to the video, I was taking a phone call, so I just played the video. I hadn't even watched that video. 60 are in quarantine. Have been since day one, is what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. But now we have 3 unconfirmed. We don't know where they got it. We have no idea where they got it. So no, peace were no. But they would be high risk, and it can live. By the way, this virus can live like up here in Boston. Although it's been it's been the warmest winter of my life by far. It's like alarming how warm it's been. And what they say about the virus is it can live on surfaces, which is why you want Purell, you want disinfectants, wash your hands, don't touch your face. If you can get a mask, what you want is the P95. I'm not trying to like scare people, but this is real, and I've never been a fearmonger for anyone new. Never. In fact, I kind of go after those kind of people that scare people for profit. Um, I've been covering this close, and in the middle of the night, I got this news, and I just know what it means. And I'm sure you do too. This is very bad. So everywhere those three people went. Now that also they're in California. It would almost be better if it was like out here in Boston, because it lasts maybe 3 to 5 days on the surfaces, right? Whereas in warmer climates, like let's say down by the equator, it can last like 2 weeks. So California, I don't know, 10, 11 days it could last on the surface. Less so, obviously, up Washington, Oregon. But especially like the California case, and so populated as well. Any news on China lady on Korea hospital, Matt? Yes, she was quarantined at the hospital I was, and then released not last night but the night before at midnight. So according to them, they don't seem too worried about it. Although I've heard about them, people with certain symptoms, they'll have them self quarantine, and they will monitor them though. And that's one thing the U.S. can do well, is monitor somebody. But I don't know. They want to get out of the house. They're gonna get out of the house. Yeah, they're gonna catch up with them. But the homeless population is the issue on the West Coast. And Nicholas Brown, exactly. That was one of the points I was gonna bring up. Great point, Nicholas. Okay, and that's another thing. And also, there's video of a bus, a bunch of people with masks. Supposedly someone was infected, and it was almost like there must have been like something in it. It was a bunch of homeless people. It was like they were trying to like supposedly they're trying to get them off the street. You know what I mean? So you get them off the street, and then there's less chance of them contracting and spreading it because of their situation. They leave bodily fluids everywhere. It's bad. Oh, sorry. I'm just checking a important. Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. So they can spread it. We know about how disgusting it is in some of these places, and like Seattle and San Francisco and LA. And they can spread it so easy. I mean, they're spreading diseases we haven't seen in a couple 100 years there. So, that's a big thing. And they have been rounding up some homeless, putting them on vans. I don't know where they're going. Don't know. I didn't move too quick. I should probably put the freaking brace on. Let me see that. Yes, Nicholas. So I haven't seen you for any of the other shows. We've talked extensively about Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Bill Gates, all of his patents. He was running simulations. He was also, these like real world simulations of a coronavirus like pandemic breaking out only 3 months prior. Although it's really only 2 months prior, if you know when this thing really started. So really shady stuff going on with Bill Gates. He had anything that has anything to do with this virus, he has money in it. And then, then there's we all know the level 4. Like, I've gone over this stuff so many times. I'm trying to give the new news, but like, the level 4 in Wuhan, it was released out of there. My only question is, did the Chinese do it themselves? Because they got a big problem with elderly who do not go with this new communist / Western style of life. They won't put on the mask. They believe in Eastern medicine. They believe in all the old school stuff. Chinese tradition, Chinese culture is so rich and goes back so long. It's talking like 10,000 years. Sounds ridiculous. 10,000 years, right? It does. Suppose something like that. 10,000 years, maybe 8,000, or 6,000. But then again, Göbekli Tepe tells us that humans were existing as far back as I think it was 12,000 BC. So that makes it 14,000 years ago. Humans were around and built this magnificent structure that they're just unearthing. It's amazing, really. And we were lucky to find it. Master Q, I haven't seen you in a while. And by the way, Nicholas Brown, weren't you the one who before Q, when Q was gone for a while, all of a sudden, yeah, of course. No, I remember the whole time. I was thinking it the whole time. That's why I've been giving you special attention, because I was like, wait, he's the guy who knew that Q was going to be back on AKUN. Dude, that was amazing that you had that information. I was so glad that I got that. Well, I was Navy, so Booyah. Hello, Red Pill.
Hey, Matt, it's Mercy Law.
Hey, how you doing? Do you want to chat in just a minute? I just want to go over the story real quick. Is that okay?
Sure. You can.
Can I call you?
Call back. Yeah, you can call me.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, I don't mind. I'll take calls. Just let me get this information out. Yeah, Nicholas, I remember right away as soon as I saw your name. All right. And Bill Gates, he's also been up to some other crazy stuff that I think is legit. Like, I think I went to another realm. First of all, the D wave, just the fact that the D wave exists. And in fact, it actually one of the subs let me know. They actually have a new version now. It would go from 2048. The next one would be 4096. So it'll just keep going up like that. And that D wave, that's basically like the is that the amount of dimension? No, it's not the amount of dimensions, but there's some kind of formula you can figure out how many dimensions you're talking about. We're talking about almost infinite dimensions when it comes to the D wave quantum computer, which is active. It works. It's actually made. It's, if what I'm hearing is true, that this is actually out, it will make cryptology obsolete, because no code can go unbroken. If you have a quantum computer and you give it that specific task, break this code, it will. No code, no matter what technology, unless you have a D wave as well. And then it's basically just like secure comms back and forth. And we know that we have a D wave. We know that Canada, that's where it was built. We got to remember, the AI is on the internet. They're messing around with dimensions. All right. And we haven't even started on the second subject of this show. A second moon has suddenly appeared in the sky. And we'll be looking video of that too. So, all right. So let me read you the story real quick. All right. Now, some of these stories, you got to take them with a grain of salt. But there's a lot that you can take from it. I will tell you that. So here we go. I just wanted to make sure you guys, you have it there. I want to hear it. And I think, you know what? And Murphy's Law, if you caught my last show, I hate to burst your bubble, but I'm pretty sure that I actually put forth the same theory. But at least we're in agreement. So we'll be talking in a minute. His aide died of and the Pope's sick. I didn't hear that one, Tony. Wow, where'd you hear that? A channel or article? If you have any sauce on that, please. Whether you want to text to me or put it in chat. Or unless it's just something you heard on a channel, but that's something to keep in mind. Tony, just so you guys know, Tony, he's as solid as they come. You know, he puts up my PayPal. And things have been very tough for me. But, you know, every single time puts up my PayPal. Guys, help me out. Nobody donates, but he always does. You know, even if you can only do, you know, like $5 or $10, he's just a great guy. He's a solid guy. We've talked off, you know, we text. He's a solid guy. So just so you know, that's not just some cool, crazy guy saying that. So I actually, that actually caught my eye. All right, guys. California reported its second case of community transmission. You see how they kind of hide the obvious truth that we have the coronavirus. We don't know how they got it, but they call it community transmission. Again, muddying the waters. Friday, and Oregon and Washington announced others just hours later. Now, what did I say about Friday media dumps? You know, I mean, Nicholas, also, I've been wondering ever since that day, how did you know? Because, like, you know, I follow Cold Monkey. I didn't see it. I didn't know it was happening. Well, I didn't know it was happening right then. I had heard about another board, but I didn't know it was happening right then. It's crazy, bro. All right. Anyway, so now think about so they do a Friday intel dump. Usually that's the type of stuff they don't want you to know. It'll usually come with, especially something like this, it'll come with a distraction. So expect that. But they always do it on Friday. But this time they didn't just do it on a Friday late afternoon. That's when it normally is. The 4 o'clock hour, something like that. No, they did it in the middle of the night. And I happened to wake up and I just checked my phone and I looked on Twitter and boom, I saw this story. Someone had posted it and I couldn't believe it. I was like, that's not true. It's true. All right. So it seems like they like planned this. California reported second case, by the way, of community transmission, meaning it's not someone coming from China. It is an American here who is traveling around in their Ubers and going to work and doing with their family, you know, just going everywhere. And like I said, it's a warmer climate, which means it's going to last longer on surfaces. You know, Oregon and Washington a little bit less so, but well, you know, less so. Okay, so then just hours later, Oregon and Washington announced others being infected by community transmission, as I do air quotes. Basically, what they're saying, obviously, is, yeah, we're at the point where it's person to person amongst Americans. And that is the exact point that, you know, it's declared a pandemic. That's why, you know, but it wasn't so scary at first because it was a husband who wanted to be with his wife. He contracted it here in the U.S., but he just wanted to be his wife. But now we have, this is totally different. They don't know the origin. I'll continue reading. Authorities in Santa Clara, because you know what? I know a lot of you guys live in California, so I want to give you this. Authorities in Santa Clara County, California, said a 65-year-old woman had come down with the COVID-19 disease, which they also made sure to change the name. Listen, it's the coronavirus, okay? Without traveling to any countries hit hot. Although the COVID-19 does make more sense scientifically than just calling it the coronavirus. And we'll get into the corona and the horn and what this means biblically later, also financially. Without traveling to any countries hit hard by the outbreak or coming in contact with anyone else known to have the infection. So that means that these people who are now sick, all right, got the coronavirus without traveling to not just China, but any country. I don't know.
I can't do this anymore.
Hey, I please need to.
Can you go to the store and get the freaking things filled?
Yeah, but my mother's on her way first. Yeah.
This sucks. I wouldn't have bothered taking it.
All right. So you know what? When my mother comes, we'll do it.
Bad.
Hey.
I guess so. Yeah.
All right. My mother's coming to pick her up. Just spend time with her before. I just need a cigarette.
Not only that, I have to get her ready. All
right. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I feel the same.
Well, do you have anything extra?
No.
You don't have any?
No.
You didn't? You didn't save any for today?
No, last night.
Where are they? They're gone?
Yeah.
It wouldn't even work anymore.
All right. So, listen. So, I'm sorry about the disruption, but listen, this is very important. I really want to emphasize this. So, this 65-year-old woman in Santa Clara got the coronavirus without traveling to any countries hit hard by the outbreak or coming in contact with anyone known to have the infection, which means now they kind of throw a curveball in there. Instead of just saying that without traveling, they say without traveling to any of the countries hit hard. So does that mean that she traveled and maybe one of these countries like Italy, who we didn't even think was that bad until just recently, and now it's like extremely bad in Italy? Italy is one of the real hot spots right now. In particular Milan. They basically got hit like this. It started out with a few, and it just exponentially every day got worse, which makes sense because you're asymptomatic for so long. So they're not saying that she didn't travel at all, but I don't like that kind of reporting. It's shady. You know what I'm saying? It's the Washington Post, so you get what you get when you deal with the real MSM. But I wanted to give you the MSM, and then I have another one too. So we'll just go through it. I don't like that. You see what I mean? How you get it? It's in the details.
Oh, Matt, really?
It's not that she didn't travel. It's without traveling. What are you talking about? That's what it was in. All right. Without traveling. Let me see. So yeah, it doesn't say that she didn't travel. It's just saying that she didn't travel to any hard hit areas. Air quote hard hit. So that's kind of shady. Let me see what else. In Oregon, officials said a person from Washington County in the northwest part of the state, so we're talking, northwest Oregon here, had tested positive under similar circumstances. The positive test was conducted by the state's laboratory and is considered presumptive until it is confirmed by the Federal Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Basically, he has it. It's just a matter of formalities. It's like a chain of command. They got him with. They say he has the coronavirus after test. There's going to be some other. The WHO will come in and confirm. So this unnamed Oregon individual is an employee of Forest Hills Elementary School. Oh no. Oh man. I knew one was a student too, but I didn't know one was a teacher. What kind of school is this? Elementary school. Oh, oh man. So I'll read that again. The unnamed Oregon individual is an employee of Forest Hills Elementary School outside Portland, but has a job that does not typically come into contact with students. First of all, okay, that's better than him being in constant contact with students, but it doesn't matter. Somewhere like Oregon, it probably lives 5 days on any surface. And what is he? If he's a janitor or something, if that's what he is, or I'm trying to think what he might be. Um, I don't know, somebody in the office with the phones that doesn't deal with the kids, but it doesn't matter. They go around the school. You all touch the same water fountains. All that. It's so easy to spread. We now know this. I mean, just look at the cruise line. With all the preventative measures taken on this cruise line, it is spreading like wildfire. I mean, we're talking an on not of potentially 6.0. It's definitely at least 5.0, I'd say. Just based on, like I said, the case study of that Princess cruise ship. And when you look at places like South Korea, we saw just a few people just like this get it locally, like South Korean to South Korean, sixth generation at that point. And then it took off. They just reported 800 new cases, by the way, South Korea. This is bad. Sorry, that's it. Hello? Yeah. Hey, I'm live. So no. You're gonna be here at 12, right? Yeah. Just go ahead. Unbelievable. All right. I'm live. Bye. All right. So the unnamed Oregon. So I said Forest Hills Elementary School outside Portland, but has a job that does not typically come into contact with students. And that comes from Lake Oswego School District, wrote to parents in an email obtained by local news. The few individuals who did have close contact with the infected person were asked to stay home from work or school for the next 2 weeks, which is exactly what should be done. I would actually suggest 3 weeks, but what do I know? I've only been calling it from the beginning, exactly how it would go. And you know what? I'll tell you right now, they're just talking about who he's coming in contact with, and they're being very misleading. That's why all of a sudden, within hours of each other, all three of these states released this information. Well, yeah, Murphy's Law, it depends on the climate. It could be as high as 14 days on surfaces if you live like by the equator. Warmer climate, the longer it stays. Colder climate, not so long. Here in Boston, it could be. Well, then again, because it's the way the weather's been here in Boston, it might be more like 5 or 6 days, just judging on if the equator is 2 weeks, and somewhere like Canada is. I remember they said Vancouver or something was like 3 to 5 days. I'd say Boston's probably like 6 days. Oregon, something similar. Whereas California could be as high as Santa Clara is kind of north though, right? So I don't know, 9 days maybe. But the point is, it can live on these surfaces in this school. I'm hoping that they're obviously going to go down and try to disinfect. But guess what? You can disinfect it now, but this whole time he's been asymptomatic. What about though? What about all that time? What about those 3 weeks? You've heard the opposite in terms of what, Tony? Because I just said so many different things. I'm not demonizing teachers. Maybe there's stuff going on in chat that I don't know about. The temperature? You've heard the opposite. So you think you're hearing that it lives longer in colder temperatures and not as long in warmer temperatures. Interesting. Well, let's look it right up. I have to write with one hand. Oh, you know what? You might be right actually, because it's saying, the whole like Trump, he says, well, when it warms up in April, that'll kill it. So maybe I was saying it backwards. But all they keep it's saying it may not be. I mean, it's like crazy. Look at all these titles. Like every title is contradicting the prior title. So these are all just talking about the in the spring what's going to happen. Oh man, this can get very bad by then. We still have all of March. I'm trying to word it better. I just want to make sure I report the correct information. So thank you, Tony. And you know what you're saying actually makes sense due to the fact that how long can they survive on service? It'll say it right here. All right. The first section of the new paper focused on how long the coronaviruses can survive on inanimate surfaces such as tables and door handles. You don't think that this guy that worked at the school touched a bunch of tables and door handles? I mean, I don't know why I'm thinking janitor. I don't know. But no, because they would be too much in contact with. But then again, I don't even. All of these stories have some type of, like the first one. It doesn't say she didn't travel, but she didn't travel to any hot hit areas. And the second one, it's like this weird, like he works at a school, but he's not in contact with students except for a couple who went home. There's like just these huge question marks. And I know it just dropped last night, but listen, they've had this information. You can tell they do Friday drops, except this was so serious. They did it in the middle of the night while we were sleeping. And most of us would go out and have a nice weekend, and most people won't even know this. They might hear it, but this is huge. All right, so to answer this, the authors show that depending on the material and the conditions, human corona can remain infectious from 2 hours to 9 days. Okay, now which side's the cold spectrum? On the spectrum, which side's cold, which side's hot? I was hearing up to 14 days. Let's see. So at temperatures around 4 Celsius or 39 degrees Fahrenheit, certain versions of the coronavirus could remain viable for up to 28 days. At temperatures, so these are higher temperatures, closer to like 100 degrees Fahrenheit, coronavirus tended to persist for a shorter time, meaning that Tony is absolutely correct. Thank you, Tony. See, what did I tell you guys about Tony? He's sharp, and when he says something, he knows what he's talking about. He doesn't just say it. So, just so you know, what I was just saying, that I'm happy because I want the information I put out to be exact. You know what I did? I must have heard the information and just did it backwards in my head. Okay, so yeah, it's actually the warmer climates kill it quicker. The colder climates do not. So up here in Boston, we will have the longer period of that virus on these surfaces, whereas Southern California, Texas down by the border, it's less time. It could be a matter of hours if you live like by the equator. All right. All right. So great catch, Tony. Thank you for that. All right, let me catch up with the comments. Great catch, brother. And if somebody wants to throw up my my PayPal, by the way, obviously, I do this and I love doing this, but I'm looking to get some new equipment, and if anybody wants to donate, you can decide where you want your money to go. If you say I want it to go to personal use for you and your daughter, okay, that's that. A lot of people have said, well, I want it to go towards the channel, and I was actually working on getting a camera and a green screen and everything that comes with the green screen. So if anybody would like to donate, if somebody could, well, you know what? It's in the description anyways. So in the description, there's multiple ways to donate. But if you want for the channel, PayPal's the best way. I also have Venmo. I also have Cash App. I also have one other way. Super chats aren't always the best way. YouTube takes a lot of that, about 1/3 of that money. Hey, well, can I have the? You never gave me a cigarette. All right, so let's get on to the next story. Oh no, we weren't even done with that story. All right.
No, I'm coming, babe. I'm finding your toy.
Can you keep your voice down?
Where did I put that freaking thing?
I don't know, Amanda. Come on, spend time with us. She's only gonna be here for so long.
Right now, that's what I'm saying.
They're out in the from the mall and all the bags.
No, I put them in here so she wouldn't lose all the pieces.
All right, so just like I was just saying, because I was saying they must be hosing down that school, disinfecting it, all the whole 9 yards, big time, big time. They're doing that in the school. Hey, you told me to give me a cigarette an hour ago. So the school will remain closed. They don't even. The Washington Post. You think the editor would notice? There's no D on closed. That just shows you how. And this is such a huge story. I normally I don't like to pull up the MSM, but I like to give like a 360 degree, like you see it from all sides, and then make a decision. Right, left, alternative, all that. Anyways, I can't. Where's the editor? The school will remain closed through Wednesday. Like, really, buddy? You know what? I don't know. It's probably I'm not even gonna say it. All right, the school will remain closed through Wednesday. Should be a D there, as it is cleaned. The district told parents. I hope they also told the parents that, hey, just so you know, anything this guy touched is, and this is Oregon. So now that we know it's actually the opposite, and it will actually live longer up there in Oregon rather than down in Cali. Let's say 5-6 days potentially. I mean, not only does it live for that long, but when he's constantly touching the same places, it basically just stays. And you can be asymptomatic for 3 weeks or more. The general standard is 14 or more, 14 days or more, 2 weeks or more. But younger people, depending on his age, Although, what was his age? Yeah, he's unnamed for some reason. No age. That's another shady thing about this. No age. The other one, they gave her age and everything. I understand not giving the name. All right. This is crazy. So, the school will remain closed. Horrible editing. Washington Post, of all places. Closed. Good job, guys. Through Wednesday, as it is clean. Blah, blah. Now, in Washington. Now, don't forget, anyone just joining us, all three of these states came out within a couple hours of each other while we were sleeping. I woke up in the middle of the night. I was like, what? I was about to go live at 3:30 in the morning. But I was like, oh, no, I'm just going to wait till the morning and do it. So, but I've been studying, listening to scientists, and it's just, I just want to read you the articles, then we can get into more of the scientific stuff. Let me just check on chat before we get into what's going on with Washington exactly. And I haven't forgot about you, Murphy's Law. Why? What's going on, Sherbet? Is someone's just like, hey, Truth Warrior, long time no see. Oh, thank you, Brandy. So here's my PayPal, guys, and in the description, there's many other ways. I'm a single father, and I work hard on this channel to try to bring you guys the best information possible. It's not required. I usually don't get much donations, but anything helps. That's all. That's all. No more talk about donations. It's there, and it's in the description. If you can, and I understand. If I'm not in the position where I could donate right now. In another couple weeks, I donate to other channels here and there, just because I know how it is. It's like a full-time job. Seriously. Let's see. I'm trying to see what's going on here. Everybody being good. Exactly. I have a lot. My house is alive, but well, Amanda's visiting, but my house is always alive with Olivia. And that's correct. What Nicholas Brown just said. Now the coronavirus, it was around before. This is something that's been around. It's just the new strand is this Wuhan strand, and it was created. It was man-made. They did certain things to it. We know that it has some of the like some of the things that you would get from HIV in it. It has some HIV. I don't know enough of the terminology, but it's like that's why they're giving people the HIV medications, because their viral loads and all that. So this is something that is designed not only to potentially kill you, but then reinfect you. We don't know what the long-term effects are. Now, when I say coronavirus, that's too broad of a term, which is why earlier when I said COVID-19, I'm like, yeah, at first I'm like, yeah, they want to name it something else. And I said, but scientifically it makes sense. The reason I said that is what Nicholas just said. Coronavirus is something that's kind of been around, but the COVID-19 addresses this particular strand that is spreading throughout the world. So thank you for that, Nicholas. Exactly. It's the COVID-19. It's the Wuhan strand, and they happen to have their only level 4 biolab right there in Wuhan. My only question, I don't know what you guys think. Did China honestly accidentally do this? Did they do it on purpose to get rid of their elderly because their elderly still live by a different way of life? China is a young country. while at the same time, they are one of the oldest civilizations there are. But with the communism and taking on the Western world of things, and the way they've just grown and built and built and built, and that they're able to cheap labor, obviously, and just so much business out of China. The thing is, the elderly, they still go the old way. They're the ones not wearing the mask, getting dragged into, I don't even know where, but you see them get dragged away, locked into their own houses with it welded shut. We can watch some of the videos from China. It's really bad. But really, this video, I wanted to really kind of concentrate, because I've gone over all this stuff a million times, right? But I'll go out. This is stuff worth, saying again. But my main objective right now is to wake people up to the fact that, and I think you guys get it, it's here. Not only did these people who are infected live their life as if all of us would live our life, and potentially infected, when you have, put it this way, the R naught number, you know what that means? That is how many people the person will infect. It's that simple. For instance, Trump saying, "Oh, the flu's worse." That pissed me off when he said that. It's one thing to not. I understand he can't alarm the public. He can't cause panic as the president. You can't do that. I get it. You can't be 100% honest. You're going to cause panic. You're going to cause the markets to crash. I get it. I get that. He had to. He had no choice. Well, he did have a choice, but I get it. But to sit there and tell me that the flu is worse than the coronavirus is disgusting. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to lie. It's another thing to just straight out just bullshit like that. That rubbed me the wrong way. It really did. So, yes, more people have died of the flu in a particular, in a year. But trust me, by the end of this, the numbers are going to be way above. I'll show you some charts. The trajectory, it's every day exponentially worse. And that's what it takes, especially with air travel. The fact that it was Chinese New Year. There's so many factors that make this thing stink. I don't know if China did it by accident. That's like the least of what I think. If they did it on purpose and they're declaring war on potentially the U.S., something like that. Did the U.S. do it? We signed a deal. We're not suspected, at least at first. We've been kind of in a silent war of a sorts with them for a while now. And I've been talking about that constantly on this channel. And then you look at who else got hit hard. Now, Italy is an ally. Italy just messed up. Italy had a bunch of people in Milan. And you know what they did? They just let them in the public. Like, what? And they tried to fix it. It was too late. Italy really screwed up. They probably handled it the worst of everybody. Iran didn't handle it well either. Although I have to think that, the clowns, the C. I like to take the I out, like Q. That I don't belong. No intelligence going on there. But that's the type of stuff they do, though. And I'm sure that's the reason why Iran really has a problem, and they're not reporting it as it is. All right, well, let's continue with this story. Let's see what's going on in Washington, because I understand this is scary, and a lot of you guys might live in this place. What does COVID-19 mean? Wait. No, what'd you say? Write it again so I can see it. Oh yeah, Iran's losing power big time. I mean, just the fact that the way we punked them out, took out their man, they tried to save face, claimed they killed X amount of soldiers. The whole world knew they didn't, and they were just trying to save face. They took a hit, and not just that. The sanctions are crippling them, which is the reason they were lashing out in the first place. And then we had to kind of give them a smack. Everyone pissed their pants in America like we're going to war, which could have happened, but I think Trump handled it well once again. Now, this, I don't think he handled it well. I understand you can't cause panic. You can't have the markets just crash, everything. Nobody go to work. No one go to... I get it. But is that maybe the better thing for the country and the people of this country? Or this is the other scenario. The financial markets crash, and I've been told by somebody who is very, very smart when it comes to this stuff. He's like a master hacker. He's amazing. Amazing. Once the Dow hits 23, that's it. That's it. 23, that's it. This could be what transitions into the other day I was saying digital, but then I corrected myself, into a cryptocurrency. Now, do I think it'll be Bitcoin? No. If I have money right now, and I'm not supporting any of these things, but Chainlink, that is something on the blockchain where you can buy something. You can invest in Chainlink, and it's basically technology that helps make the transaction within the blockchain. It's all about the blockchain technology is where it's at. Now, Bitcoin is the most profitable, but that's not going to be the one that the whole world goes by, and that's what this could be. That would make it on purpose again, because you got to ask who benefits. Well, the other day I was thinking the U.S., and then a caller reminded me, you know what? Why am I thinking in terms of countries? The elites benefit. And, all of a sudden, they buy up all the cryptocurrency. That's the new currency. Now you're saying, what's it backed by? What's it? Well, because of the way the blockchain is, it does actually have value. Just because it's a secure way of doing something. But at the same time, they can control what you do. They could, like social credit score. Hey, he has no more funds. Wipe his funds. You don't get a V in your arm, which is another. I just don't like when people say the coronavirus is not real. Now, if you tell me that, hey, this is going to lead to the V, and that's what they're trying to do, okay. I think that's a little too simple. Too many people will be expecting that. It's going to be something much more complicated. There's something much more going on. I think there's a silent war going on, personally. There's also the chance that the Chinese wanted to get rid of some of their, but then again, why would they want to shut down their whole country unless they had a financial backup in place that they wanted to get to? But anyways, I know that there's people here that live in Washington. Actually, I know of one that I seen in here. So I want to get to. Well, the thing is, there's so many. We can go over these possibly. I went over them in the last shows, but I want to make sure that I go over everything. Now in Washington, so far. California, big holes in their story, big question marks. Oregon, even bigger holes and big question marks. Actually, you know what? Which one's the school? Oregon, yeah, even bigger question marks on that one. Now, this one is probably the saddest one. In Washington, state health officials said a high school student in Snohomish County, just north of Seattle, received and here they go again, presumptive positive test in another case of unknown origin. So, to put that into words that make sense, because they try to confuse people on possible, which pisses me off. Presumptive just means that they have a chain of command above their head that just needs to come in and go, yep, he got it. They already know he got it. They already tested him. He has the coronavirus. And as far as, the unknown origin, that just means, hey, it doesn't make any sense. He's a high school kid. He's not coming from China. He's not flying around the world. He got it from somebody, and he's just north of Seattle. And we knew that the first case in America was someone that came from China to Seattle. But they didn't go straight to, I wanted to say jail like Monopoly, but straight to quarantine. And this is nothing to joke about, but I'm just trying to lighten up a tiny bit. Go straight to quarantine. I think, if I'm not mistaken, she had no, she might have went straight to quarantine. I thought for some reason she was out for a couple days, but it doesn't matter. This is the same place where it actually started, right? As far as like the first case, and then the first case that was born, like an actual transmission in America, was the husband and wife in Chicago, Illinois. But now we have these things, and like I said, it's very shady that all three states release this information within hours, in the middle of the night, on a Friday night. They do not want panic. You know why? Because obviously the truth would make us panic. I'm telling you guys, before this really blows up, I know what I'm doing today. I'm going and I'm stocking up. I already have all kinds of supplies, but I'm getting more. All right. There's a bunch of great prepper channels. I'm not the greatest prepper channel. I do prep. But I have a lot to learn on some of this stuff. But I just hope that as a society, if things really did go to shit, it's not like kill or be killed. I hope that, as Christians, as humans, yeah, we have to protect our family. We have to protect that stuff. I get it. But we shouldn't lose that side of us, or else what's the point? All right. So, again, presumptive positive tests in another case of unknown origin. All right. Oh, I didn't have it up. I'm sorry. I'll bring it up right now. Yeah, stocking up. You know what? I wouldn't even wait till Tuesday. This is already out. This came out last night in the middle of the night. Today is the day. It's too late for masks. You can still get the mask, but you're gonna pay a lot. A lot. It depends. Well, I live in a big city, so yeah, it's gonna be really tough for me. But some people that aren't in such a big city, maybe check out Home Depot, some places like hardware stores, paint stores. But you want the N95 with the actual ventilator. Yeah, right. Preppers be like, told you so. But yeah, listen, guys, I wouldn't wait. And guess what? You'll have that prep in case something else happens down the line. I mean, think about 2020. 2020 has been the craziest year, both like for society. It hasn't even been 2 full months yet. And think of how much war, the whole Iran thing, impeachment, coronavirus, and all the other political doodads going on. Kobe Bryant. It's been the craziest. I mean, this is like the amount of stuff that'll happen in a year, in a busy year. It's crazy. So, like it says in the Bible, it comes like birth pains, meaning the pain, the contractions become closer and closer together. So, I'm definitely seeing that. Oh, and the locusts. Good point. The locusts in Turkey, the locusts in Africa, the locusts that Somalia or Ethiopia. Which one? One of them. Yeah, locusts all over the place. What's going on? It matches the Bible. Good point. Don't forget the TP. And that's another thing. I can't help but thinking exactly, Nicholas. I can't help but think that with the deep state, and as I believe you do, I'm a Q believer, and some people think that's crazy, but that's only because I followed it since literally not day one, but the second week I started getting into it. And I was on the chans. I was actually like that 24/7 Patriot. Before they ever created that channel, they just had like a Discord, and I would be in there talking with them and all that. And they started talking about creating a channel, and they had the idea of we can just do it 24/7. To this day, they have never gone off the air. Well, I think there was like a problem a couple days, but basically they have been 24/7 Q. It's called 24/7 Patriot Soapbox. I haven't listened to them in a long time, but I used to when it first came out because it was a good way of breaking it down. But after a while, you get well versed in his comms, and you don't need all that interaction. You basically can get it. If you don't get it, you can check around. You'll find out. If something's a little more cryptic. And by the way, as a cryptologist that was in the Navy with a top secret sensitive compartmentalized information clearance, I haven't seen shorthand like I saw in the posts on Q since I was in the Navy on the watch floor. That's when I've had probably about 30 different moments where I knew. I've showed you guys stuff on this channel, and I told you, listen, guys, on December 9th, boom, this is going to happen. IG Horowitz. Boom, it happened. I told you January 28th. I don't know what. Something's going to happen. Boom, January 28th. The whole thing with the prosecutor from Connecticut. Why do I just had a head injury? Somebody? The prosecutor from Connecticut. Come on, the bulldog. Bulldog. Durham. He exactly 1 year to the day was officially announced as the prosecutor looking into the origins of the Russia investigation, which basically mean they're looking into everything. The IG Horowitz, if you didn't want to talk to him, you didn't have to. If Durham wants to talk to you, if Barr wants to talk to you, you can't deny them. Shifty Schiff can't not talk to them like he did when he presented all this intel that he never gave anyone else. Brought it into to the Senate without the House getting to see it, and try to sneak it by. Hid the whistleblower because it was really just a guy in the CIA who had a problem with Trump. There's so much dirt, and people are going down. And I think that the deep state is being dismantled one day at a time. And that's what I honestly believe. And I know a lot of people just think, nah, it's a psyop. And you know what? I'll leave room for that because what I've seen is such military precision and so precise. It makes me think sometimes, is this AI? Because we know AI has been unleashed on the internet. So it makes me think sometimes, is this AI? Or, hey, what's the end game here? When it's all done, that's going to be absolute power, absolutely corrupt. So I have some worries, but 99% of it looks like good things. This coronavirus, though, I'm telling you, right after this started spreading, we're talking December, late December, I saw a news program with Bannon, and all he kept talking about was China this and China that. And he's been propping up this other Chinese guy that is non-communist. And now, there's a lot of Chinese people rising up against communism. They're pissed. This could be a way of, like we do, we're pretty good at dismantling governments. Not that great at building them back up, but maybe a country like China, we have more success, or maybe that would be a nightmare. And this could all be connected. But there is a man who is capable, extremely intelligent man. I believe his last name is Lee. I believe. Anyways, Bannon was talking to him, and Trump even referred to him. It's very interesting. So that's that with that. But let's continue on Washington, because this is what this is all about. So this high school student again presented positive tests in another case of unknown origin. So not only do they have to go and backtrack everywhere that this student went in Washington, just north of Seattle. That's where my Fugel is. I mean, he was already weeks ago. And you know what? Yeah, I gotta give props where props is due. The last two shows from my Fugel have been good. They've been good, informative shows. I can't just like blindly diss a guy every day. He did his last two shows were good. I gotta give him credit. Anyways, so this is in his neck of the woods. The Jackson High School student was not in school most of this week because he's been sick, but was on campus. Why they call it campus? High school, right? Isn't it elementary school? Wait. It's a high school. Okay. But was on campus briefly Friday morning, according to a statement from Everett Public Schools. Oh, we have a Everett out here. I used to live in Everett, Massachusetts. Hold on one second. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so students. No, I'm online. Students who were in contact. I muted the mic. Who were in contact with the patient. Hold on a second. All right, guys. So sorry about that. It's an active home. There's nothing I can do about that. There's nowhere I can go. The one place I can go is the bathroom. And if you guys have watched when I try to do a show in there, the light, when you turn the light, it makes the fan goes on at the same time. So I would have to disconnect the fan because every time I turn the light, the fan goes on with it. There should be two switches. Every other house I have had, two switches. $2,300 a month. You'd think there'd be two switches. Yeah, and that's ridiculous, right? 2-bedroom, $2,300. Although now there's only two of us here, and she just visits on the weekend. So he's not in school most of the weeks. Students who were in contact with the patient will remain home for 14 days. So they're sticking to the 14 days. Okay. All right. Some people have gone 23 days. One person went 27 days without symptoms. And this is what I think all of this was learned on the Princess cruise ship because it's a lot easier to monitor. I hate to dehumanize, but it's a good, very good case study. And I'm happy Trump got the two Americans, the whatever, I think it was two, but whatever Americans were on that ship. So they'll remain home for 14 days while health authorities monitor their symptoms But the thing is, it's not just the students. Where else do these students go? They're high school students. He's not elementary school. Where's he go? Does he? If he has a girlfriend, she'll be home for 14 days too. But where's this kid go? What's he do? You go to the store? Does he have a job? A high school job? Probably not. Not Seattle people. No, I'm just kidding. Well, not really. I don't know what do kids do nowadays. They kind of just sit in, but it doesn't matter. They go. You go out to eat. You go here. You go there. You're gonna spread it. You're gonna spread it. All right. He got it right, so he's obviously in contact with people to get the virus. So that's another thing. If you're getting the virus, that just tells me automatically that mathematically the possibilities are in the favor that you are a social butterfly or work in somewhere where it's like a high volume of people. Although, these schools could be really a big problem. 2 of these 3 incidents are in schools. We don't know what his job is, but the other guy, we don't know what his job is. And then now we have this high school student. So we don't know. A lot of empty questions. The developments mean the virus is spreading in at least 4 separate communities. 2 of them about 90 miles apart in California. We went over one of them. The other one was announced prior to all this. That was the only one. Now there was 3 announced, planned, obviously, when they all come out within 2 hours. And 2 others farther up the West Coast, obviously, Washington and Oregon. And those are the 2 schools, I believe. On Wednesday, authorities revealed the nation's first case of community transmission, a woman in Solano County, California. Now, that was the first one. That's why there's 4. And then the 3 announced last night. That's why I'm saying get your supplies. I don't care if you live in the East Coast. If you live in the West Coast, definitely. Everybody watching this channel, get supplies. I care about all of you. Please, just get supplies, just in case you gotta hunker down. There is no apparent connection between the new California patient and anyone else with the disease. I would agree there, because they're so far apart. The 2 California cases are only 90 miles apart. But it's still 90 miles. Most likely, it's a situation where we have. So think about this. If all these people are contracting this virus, and right now they kind of put all the focus, as they should, to a point, on where have these people who just got the virus been, not to figure out where they got it, which is really the question you need to find out. But also, just as important, is tracing their footsteps, people they came in contact with. But again, it's not just about coming in contact with people. It is about coming in contact with surfaces, bodily fluids, coughing. It can get in your ear. There was somebody on the Princess cruise ship. Again, a case study. You learn things on this, like in these controlled environments. He had full hazmat. We're talking the whole 9 yards, and got the coronavirus. And then you get the R0 up there by around 6, which means on average, each one of these people will give it to 6 people, and each one of them will give it to 6 people. Now, mind you, that is like unhindered. Like, if you don't do anything about it, that is the spread, and that would spread so fast. But that's like almost if like kind of like how they treated it in China at first. There was no, they just put everybody together. So it spread at that rate. And that's why their numbers are totally wrong. their numbers are so much worse than they're telling. Same thing with Iran. Any country that isn't taking this serious. And I was surprised Italy made that big mistake and just let people out in the public like that. And then it spread. Yeah, it makes sense. If it's unchecked, it will spread at that rate. For each person, on average, 6 people will get infected by each person with the coronavirus. But I just want to make a key point with that. That is if it's unhindered, whereas, obviously we're going to have precautions. They're already taking precautions. They're quarantining who needs to be quarantined, or, forcing them to stay in their house for 14 days. I think it should be 21 days, but that's just me. And the thing is, what's really scary about this is a lot of the people who recover get reinfected. And then you have a strand of the HIV within the virus. Don't forget, this virus. Do not forget this for 1 second. This virus was manufactured. The question isn't why it was manufactured. The question is, why was it released into the public? Was it an honest mistake? Did AI figure out a way to take us out? I mean, people could go on forever with possibilities. At the end of the show, I'll give you my most likely possibility. I'll also take calls if I have time. But all right. So this makes sense to me. There is no apparent connection between the new California patient and anyone else. Okay, including the Solano County, which was the first one of actual human-to-human transmission in the U.S., meaning these people didn't come from China. Now it's transmitting here in the U.S. We have 4 cases now. And you know what that means? Because of there's a bunch of people walking around right now that have no symptoms, but they will. That is undeniable. When you have 4 different locations with someone with the coronavirus, and not just that, they got it from somewhere. So that means that there is somebody out there in these, not just in one place, but in at least these 4 different places, there is somebody out there that had the coronavirus. Maybe they're scared to go to the hospital. They just, it's just some guy like, I'll be fine. Just thinks he has the flu. I don't know, because they're covering it so hard now. It's kind of hard not to assume coronavirus if your symptoms are that bad. Maybe they don't want to get quarantined. I don't know. But they all got it from somewhere. And they were all asymptomatic and spread it. And for the people who got it, they were also asymptomatic. And then you get to go through all their backgrounds. It's a nightmare. All right. All right. I think so. Sarah Cody, I think. Oh, no, this is Jennifer Nuzzo. I think there's a strong possibility that there's local transmission going on in California. Really, Jennifer? You're a genius. Let me tell you. What a strong possibility. Let me correct that for you, Jennifer. I know for a fact that there is local transmission going on in California, is what that should say. I'm getting kind of sick of the, I understand not to make people panic, but you know what? You need to inform people as well. You need to inform people better than this. This is no way to inform people, in my opinion. Philly, go ahead. Go, Philly. Philly, go play. Go play, please. Sorry about that. Philly and Olivia, they're like best friends. All right. So she's a senior scholar at Johns Hopkins Center. Obviously, it's a very smart woman, and she's purposely, not committing to, yes, this is what she's get a strong possibility. I don't know. In other words, the virus is spreading within California. And I think there's a possibility other states are in the same boat. I agree. Man, I really hope that woman next to me. They just haven't recognized that yet.
Where's my phone?
And that's what, you know, you gotta think all the homeless. Not right now, no. No, right now. Around, I don't know. All right.
Are you almost done now?
Yeah.
This is very
Yes.
the worst timing ever.
Why?
My mother's getting here. I'm also trying to get her suitcase together.
In other words, the virus spreading within California. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I keep getting distracted. 2 students. This is breaking. Oh my God, why is she here? 2 students in Palo Alto, a city of 67,000 in the northwestern corner of Santa Clara County, also have been exposed to the virus. According to a letter to parents from the school superintendent Friday. Oh, wow. So we got 2 students in Palo Alto exposed to the virus. They don't know if they've contracted it, but they were definitely exposed. The children are from the same family. One is in high school and the other is in middle school. That tells me that it has to be one of their parents who has it. And they're most likely Chinese. That's how I read that. The 2 Palo Alto students. The school system said as a precautionary measure, 2 students were sent home and will be excluded from attending school until we receive more information. The virus has been reported in 56 countries and is now reaching into the heart of Silicon Valley. Do you think that's by happenstance? Do you think that what do we lead the world in? Military. Our economy strong, but it's tech. That's the future. AI, quantum physics, all the quantum mechanics, quantum computers like the D wave. CERN is an international thing, but really, it's the self learning AI. Once it reaches what they call singularity, life as we know it is done. So you gotta wonder. It seems like it's really attacking that area. So I'll repeat that. The virus has been reported.
I can ask your mother what time she's going to be here.
Yeah, call her.
I can't call her. I don't have my phone.
Hold on, I'm sorry. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna respond to that though.
You should have told me that. That's probably her here. That's why I wanted
Yeah,
to call her.
probably.
Oh my God. Well, I'm gonna tell her I couldn't get him.
Hello?
What's going on because Matt wants to go online and stuff.
Yeah, here, talk to Amanda.
You know what, Matt? But That's why I'm
Yeah.
gonna be really fucking annoying right now talking.
All right, go in the other room.
Hello.
All right, I gotta hurry up here. This is.
Oh man, that's right.
It's too crazy here. It goes right through me. The virus has been reported. Where is it that I wanted to? Yes. So it is now reaching into the heart of Silicon Valley, home to some of the world's largest technology companies, including Apple, Google, Tesla, and San Jose, a city of 1 million people. Santa Clara County is home to 2 million. And that was the original, the first. Really the first human transaction was the wife giving it to the husband in Illinois, but that was contained. But anyways, the three tech giants and other companies based in Santa Clara County did not respond to requests for comments on whether they are taking new precautions in response to the local case. So that these tech giants are quiet, oddly quiet about this. Obviously they are definitely blocking information. Like for instance, this video, it won't be monetized, or like they don't want you talking about this stuff. Well, none of my videos are I'm just labeled as somebody that they don't monetize. I don't get monetized. But the three tech giants and other companies basically did not respond to requests for comment on whether they are taking new. I read that. It's just so high. There's so much going on here. I just had a head injury. I'm sorry, guys. All right. Let's get back in it. All right. And in the news release, Cody described the newly diagnosed Santa Clara County patient. So this is Santa Clara. This is that first one. Not the three from last night. This is the first one. As an older adult woman with chronic health conditions who was hospitalized for a respiratory illness. Which, if you guys don't know much about this disease, that's what it is. It's a respiratory illness. It's like you get like ammonia, the flu, some HIV symptoms as far as like when they take your blood. There's like the same thing that HIV does. It kind of will do that with your viral load, pneumonia, all that. So it might be tough for her, and it makes sense that that's what's going on with her. The virus is known to cause more severe illness in older people, as my friend. I'm sorry right now. I can't even think that called in. Anyways, okay. And those with underlying illnesses such as cardiovascular disease and diabetes, but the symptoms are milder in more than 80% of current patients. Now that's true, but it also comes back. We don't know the long term of this. We know a lot about the coronavirus. We don't know much about this Wuhan strand. Okay, so Cody said at a news conference that the woman came to a hospital complaining of difficulty breathing, which is exactly what happened when I was in the hospital. A woman that came, she flew from China, was home. She was home for a little bit, and then she had trouble breathing at work, threw up, almost passed out. And then all of a sudden they're announcing on the news, at UMass Memorial in Worcester, which is where I was, that there was somebody being quarantined for potentially having the coronavirus. And then 2 days later, they said, her quarantine is over. She's fine. I don't know. Did they move her somewhere else? Is she really fine? I don't know. I'm assuming she's fine, meaning hopefully I'm fine, because for a couple of days there, I was worried. A physician treating her notified the county health department Wednesday evening because the patient's symptoms seemed compatible with the coronavirus, or in particular COVID-19, the Wuhan strand. The doctor asked for a coronavirus test, which came back from the county's lab Thursday evening as positive. Little else is known about the woman's case, including her condition or how long she was in the community while infectious. Well, I'll tell you, at least 2 weeks, at least 10 days. In Oregon, officials were trying to determine the number of close contacts the patient had to help determine the potential spread of the disease. And that's the name of the game. Anybody who has it, you need to backtrack anyone they came in contact with. This is very difficult stuff. And this can lead to a type of medical martial law. And everyone's going to get so scared. And what happens when people get scared? And what happens is we start giving up our rights. When I was in the Navy as a cryptologist, there's no rate in the Navy that's affected more by the Patriot Act than a crypto. And as a crypto, I saw my job drastically change from before to after the Patriot Act. And that's my big fear with this is we're going to have some type of medical martial law. I don't know if it's for the V. I don't know if it's just in general to control or really to help. Because we took a hit at China or they took a hit. There's just so many possibilities. Okay. Now, let me show you guys something real quick. We're going to continue on the coronavirus. Let me just check on you guys. Yeah, weaken immune systems. Yep, no better way to take rights away. Exactly. What did you say that? The man post shifts have been moved. All right, guys. All right. So first, I want to show you this new moon. By the way, this is amazing. Astronomers discover Earth has a second moon. For now. Keyword for now. So let's check this out. All right. So,
Man, yeah. Sorry, I thought you knew that. Matt, the car seat. Just to turn around.
We had to go to Nave Mall.
I know. Exactly.
Totally forgot. I totally forgot.
Ugh,
Totally forgot. It's the last thing on my mind.
Man, well, I'm at least glad we talked now, so that. Yeah, no, we're playing and stuff.
All right, so Indianapolis astronomers, and by the way, did you guys see my? Can you talk to me? Did you guys see the thumbnail? It shows the actual moon and then this other small moon. And I've seen different videos of it. It's very interesting. I want to show you guys. It's like pulsing. And they say it's the size of a car, which blew my mind. And it almost crossed my mind, like, is that Elon Musk's car? Remember Elon Musk put the Tesla out into space? Imagine. But no, it's not that. It's just funny, of all things, they say the size of a car. But anyways, all right. Astronomers have discovered a mini... This is the same cigarette I've been smoking the whole show. I just keep talking. A mini moon orbiting Earth. NBC reported that a visiting mini moon is a cosmic squatter. So they're basically squatting in our planet's orbit. The mini moon is actually a tiny asteroid called 2020 CD3 and was spotted February 15th from Tucson, Arizona. And do you guys remember when they shut down the space observatory? Wasn't it there? They shut it down. Didn't they shut it down there? I know it was somewhere around there. You guys know? Remember they shut it down? The observatory. Everyone was worried. Wait, where are we? Oh yeah, this is the description, by the way. Did I even save this? Whatever. It should be there if you want to donate. But yeah, Nicholas, you're well versed. Sometimes people just have like certain things, they just know their shit. Other people are extremely well rounded. And I've found my channel have some of the most intelligent people. I always say it. It's so true. New Mexico. Thank you, Dame J. That was the one, New Mexico. Yeah, so let's see what's up. Let's check it out. Oh, sorry, I didn't. All right. Earth has a new temporarily captured object, possible mini moon called. All right, so we already read all this. So let's check this out. So which object is it? Is that where that little circle is? I don't understand. Which one is it? Is this just the same thing over and over? It seems like it, right? It's just the same thing over and over. Catalina Sky Survey. So I don't know. This is like another language looking at this to me. Maybe somebody else can make anything of this, or maybe not. Maybe there's nothing to make of this. I don't see much going on. I see something pops up right here that they seem to be trying to point out. All right, let's see what else we got here. So, big news. Kafka Wearshows, a researcher with the Catalina Sky Survey. Sorry. All right. At the University of Arizona's Lunar and Planetary Lab, tweeted Tuesday, Earth has a new temporarily captured object, possible mini moon, called 2020 CD3 on the night of February 15 by Catalina Sky Survey. Teammate Teddy Poon and I found a 20th magnitude object. All right. The object is about 6 feet to 11 feet across, and it has reportedly been in Earth's orbit for about 3 years. So they just found it 2 weeks ago. Not even. Less than 2 weeks. Actually, exactly 2 weeks ago to the day. So 14 days ago, they discovered it. But it's been in our orbit for 3 years. Do you really believe, guys, that they just discovered it? If this is all legit? Because right now, I'm questioning everything. I question everything as a distraction. I question everything as, something more to it. Like, you should watch one of my last shows. We go over Philip Haney, the whistleblower who blew the whistle on San Bernardino. He knew they were going to carry it out, just like Benghazi. All of a sudden, ends up in his car, bullet wound to the chest. First, they say suicide. Now, finally, the public is kind of pushing on them, and they said, you know what? We no longer are saying suicide. We are investigating. So he was the big whistleblower, and guess what? Now that Trump's the president, he was looking to get back in to the Homeland Security after being a whistleblower, and he was one of the men who basically built the Homeland Security. Earth has a new template. Okay, so all right. Trying to see if there's anything else.
I'm looking for one thing.
All right. You know what I'd love to show you guys is
Where's the one? So you never found the two?
all right, so like,
sure you didn't have
so
it,
like
you didn't?
no,
Sure?
no.
100%.
So here, this video is that one, by the way. If you want to check out this story on Philip Haney. But Richie's my boy. I've been on his show. He's featured a couple of my videos, and he did a very interesting video. I'm not gonna play his whole video. I just want to show you guys the footage that he got. I won't put any volume. I just want to get the footage that he got of this moon.
Because I have a feeling since you haven't warned her, she's not going to go. She's going to say, I have to go, because she's doing the sky thing today with Olivia. Did you know that?
Here we go. Go where? Store?
I'm saying she's not going to go to the store with you unless
Yeah,
you warn
yeah.
her. Unless you give her a warning.
Why don't you? All right, guys. So check this out. Look at this. Let me enlarge this.
From the phone. I'll pretend to be you from the phone.
And by the way, the comments are from his channel. I just want you guys to see what this looks like through a P900, which is like the best camera. That and the P950. The one level up, I've heard, isn't as good. But here we go. Check this out. Just real quick. I don't want to be playing too much of his video, but it's amazing. That's it. That is the second moon. I mean, that looks freaky. It almost looks like it has like 7 sides with 8 points. And for those of you who know about symbology and the 8-point stars, for instance, you know, if you ever saw iPad Go 2, when it comes out of the birth canal at the end, there's the it's like almost like a devil head with the 8-point star. You know, and this thing, it's pulsing, it's moving around. I mean, it is an asteroid in orbit. So I just wanted to show you that. That's all. Okay. So I don't want to play his video like that. I just wanted to show you guys that. So went over that. New coronavirus cases of unknown origin found on West Coast. Health officials in California, Oregon, Washington State worried about that. I just want to see how they're reporting it. Spreading through West Coast communities after confirming 3 patients were infected by unknown means. The patients, an old Northern California woman with chronic health conditions, a high school student in Everett, Washington, and an employee at a Portland, Oregon area school, hadn't recently traveled overseas or had any known close contact with the traveler or infected person, authorities said. Earlier U.S. cases included 3 people who were evacuated from the central China city of Wuhan, the epicenter of the outbreak, of course. 14 people who returned from China or their spouses, and 42 American passengers on the Diamond Princess cruise ship who were flown to U.S. military bases in California and Texas for quarantining. Now, this tells me one of 2 things. Okay, so these are the people that we know have it that we brought in. But, you know, they're on military bases, and I'm sure they are following the highest of protocol. At least I hope. And by the way, guys, do you know how they test for this, especially like over in China? You ever get your temperature taken? They put the thing to your head. That's the test. I heard that they came out with something new, but still, all over the world, that is the test. They take your temperature before you board the plane. Even in one instance, a bunch of people boarded a plane from China. By the time they got to the U.S., one of them, all of a sudden, spiked a fever. Sure enough, coronavirus. Everyone was going to be quarantined anyway, but that just made it even more serious, obviously. So earlier U.S. case included 3 people. We said that. All right. Convinced that the number of cases will grow, but determined to keep them from exploding, health agencies were ramping up efforts to identify patients. The California Department of Public Health said Friday that the state will receive enough kits. Let me make sure I'm sharing. Yep. Let me see what you guys are saying. Yeah, and guys, you know what's crazy too? Have you guys seen the bluest skies that you have ever seen? Like maybe not today, but I'm talking like 4 days ago. And a lot of people have been reporting this. See, I didn't I noticed it. Even my daughter noticed. She goes, "The sky blue." And I looked up, I'm like, wow, that's the bluest sky I have seen in years. And then all of a sudden I start hearing it all over truth channels. So I don't know if there's something to that. Yeah.
This is you telling your mom.
All right. You can do it over there.
What would you say?
Just tell we need to go.
I forgot to mention. I'm not going. I feel like extra shit. You have no idea. That's why I was so late. I don't feel good at all. I haven't even taken it.
The case represents some. Oh, since report 2 cases where the source of infection wasn't known. So 2 cases. Oh, the one from before and the new one. The older woman was hospitalized for respiratory illness. That's the thing that's really freaking me out. Unknown origin. They don't know where they got it, which tells me there are people out there. Now, what I was going to say about the bases, either there was a mistake, like I said, somebody on that Diamond Princess cruise ship still got the coronavirus with full, I don't know if hazmat is the right word, but, you know, the whole, like, suit and the thing over the head and all that. They had it all. You know, respirator inside. One of them still caught it. So, did somebody catch it on base while caring for these people and bring it out into the community? I mean, the 2 main bases they're talking about are California and Texas. Although I've heard of others, to be honest with you. But I think those are 2 of the larger ones. But there are others. I'm pretty sure I've heard of others. Unless they've condensed them since. I've heard of other bases as well. And they're prepping. I actually live right near MEMA. It's like instead of FEMA, MEMA from Massachusetts. And I have never seen so many armored vehicles. And it just looks like they're getting ready for supply. They're bringing supplies. I mean, there's just so many vehicles there. And then, of course, you know, the National Guard is right next door. Anyway, back to it. So Santa Clara County, the California Department of Public Health and Fire said that the state will receive enough kits from the U.S. CDC to test up to 1,200 people a day for COVID-19 virus. A day after Governor Gavin Newsom complained to federal health officials that the state had already exhausted its initial 200 test kits. What? Now, to actually like test for the virus, it's an actual test kit. But what I'm saying as far as taking the temperature is like, that's how they would determine like, you're good, you're not good, you're good, you're not. At the beginning, that's how it went. They just take the temperature of your head. It's unbelievable. That's one of the biggest reasons that it spread so bad. They didn't realize the incubation or latency period was 14 days at the very least. So there was 2 cases, of course. The old one. This case represents some degree of community spread. Oh yeah. Some degree of circulation, said Dr. Sarah Cody, health officer. You know what? We had her quoted in the last article too. So I think this is going to be a lot of the same old. What does this say? At least 124 registered nurses and other healthcare workers were sent home for self-quarantine after the Solano County woman with the virus was admitted. And that's another thing. When these people come into these hospitals, all of a sudden you lose. Look at this. The UC Davis Medical Center lost 124 nurses, helpers, doctors. They had to go home and be self-quarantined. I mean, this is, the case highlights the vulnerability of the nation's hospital to the virus. And I'm telling you, I can't help but think back to my experience. Man, I don't even know if I should be going out in public. I went to the mall yesterday. Earlier Friday, Oregon confirmed its first coronavirus case. A person who works at an... All right, so we know all this. Murphy's Law. If you want to call in, now's the time. If you're still here. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Yeah, Murphy's Law. If you want to call in, because I got to get going. So I just wanted to get this information to you guys. It's vital, especially to the West Coast, but really the whole nation. This is vital information. And it's very interesting with this second moon. It's been there for 3 years. They just discovered it. You know, it's an asteroid, but it's technically a second moon as well, I guess. Maybe somebody can explain that to me. Hello, Murphy's Law. This is Red Pill Dispensary.
Hey, Matt.
How you doing?
So I fell down a rabbit hole, and it's really just a theory because I can match it up with faith, what was in the headline, but I can't confirm it. But I was having issues going live on my show, so when I actually did this, you couldn't see anything, but you could hear me. But I got it all worked out. But it goes back to what was in the news before this virus broke out. So
okay,
I got some dates to share and what was in the headlines. And we could either say, I don't know, it's an idea to write a sci-fi book because I can't confirm it. You know what I mean? So we're going to go all the way back to July 1st, 2019.
Oh, okay.
We had the Russian submarine that was in the Pacific.
Yes, is that the one where they went underwater and they were messing around with the cables down there and a bunch of them ended up dying?
Well, the actual sub that they had, yes, they did have the capabilities of messing with the cables.
Yeah, I covered that. I covered that pretty extensively. Yeah, that was very interesting.
Okay. So now I went a little further and I was trying to find out, do any of these submarines have labs in them? Because if you remember, they said that they averted a world catastrophe. Submarines in general.
Yeah.
Any of them.
You would think that'd be a bad idea. No?
Actually, they do have some
they
labs.
Do? Wow, I'm a Navy guy. I'm surprised.
Oh, go ahead, and I'm telling you, I researched.
And I was direct support to subs. I was never actually stationed on one, but if they ever needed a guy for any reason, crypto, if something happened to their crypto or anything, got in trouble, whatever, I would go. But I had no idea. That doesn't sound safe to have a lab on it.
Yeah, they do. They actually have laboratories. I'm not sure which ones, what countries, but I'm not even saying that.
So do you think that Russian one did?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I didn't. I've had some eye issues after that real long flu I had. But in any event, just keep that in mind and ask yourself, what would you call a planetary or a world catastrophe? What could actually go on with that sub that could affect the whole planet? Now, it was nuclear power, but if it was a nuke thing and it went boom, that would only be an event. Because we had Chernobyl, we had issues with nuclear, so just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
So now we're going to jump to September 17th. What was in the headline news was the Russian lab in Russia was one of only 2 laboratories. We have the other one in Atlanta, Georgia, that housed the world's most deadliest diseases. Now, apparently, there was maintenance
one in
going
Canada
on.
too, right? Did you say Canada?
No, according to Wikipedia, there's only 2 labs that held. Now I'm sure
Atlanta,
Canada,
definitely Atlanta CDC. That's the big one.
Oh, right. This one in Russia and the one in Atlanta, they hold the most deadliest diseases, viruses in the world. So, but September 17th, supposedly some maintenance workers were in that lab in Russia. and they had an explosion and a fire. And if you look at the articles, all these articles I'm going over, I actually linked in my comments on a show I tried to attempt to do.
Okay.
But so in that lab, now they were sure to state that.
Oh, can you just pause 1 second? I just have a family thing. 1 second.
Sure.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna have to get going. I'm sorry. I rides here. Guys, this is Murphy's Law. She has a YouTube channel, and it's a great channel. I watch her. If you guys would like to subscribe, she's great. But do you want to like is it something that you can kind of like wrap up like a 30-second?
Yeah, probably. So anyway, there was the fire and the explosion on the 17th. October 18th was Event 201, and October 18th through 27th, the World Military Games were sponsored in Wuhan, China. I connected everything, and I think this virus was let go in the World Games with all the military people, because I cross-referenced all the countries, and all but 2 countries that have this virus attended the Wuhan Games.
And that's another thing. They say it's like all UN countries.
Over 100 nations and almost 10,000 military people participated in the World Games.
Yeah, that. I'm just saying, like, as far as like countries that have the coronavirus, like there was a point where it was just UN countries. I think that's changed since.
Now, 61 countries. I go through Worldometer, and there's 61 countries. Now, when I researched this,
I got something like 65, but yeah, something like that in the 60s. It's dynamic. It changes every day.
When I cross-reference the countries that attended to the countries that have the virus, all but 2 countries attended the World Military Games in Wuhan.
Very interesting.
I can't prove it.
No. That's very. So you guys hear that? They had you know how they have military games, and we're doing with South Korea. We're in Japan. We always piss off China and North Korea by doing it, and South China say, okay, yeah. So there was some
every 4 years. Every 4 years.
Every 4 years.
Like the military Olympics.
It's basically like the military Olympics. They had them in Wuhan, and this was September 17th of what year?
October 18th through the 27th, and that's also
of
on
what
Wikipedia.
Year?
2019.
Oh, so just a few months ago, they had the military Olympics in Wuhan. And I'm sorry, I gotta go, but with that is the great information, Murphy's Law. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sweetie. Have a good one.
All right.
Bye.
This is the Red Pill Dispensary. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Unfortunately, I got things I have to attend to. But Red Pill Dispensary. Thank you. If you want to donate, in the description, it's well appreciated. All right, take care, guys. Hello.